You're listening to Ask When, the podcast. Folks from all walks of life talk about their daily hustle and bustle, living and celebrating life, sharing tips on becoming champions, especially for those who are muscling mental and physical disabilities. Ask When, the podcast, with your host, who has mustered over 30 years living with cerebral palsy and going strong, author and cerebral palsy advocate Wynn Charles. Ask When, the podcast starts right now.
Welcome to Ask When, everyone. This afternoon I have Vickie Gould with me, and I am going to explain to you guys how Vickie and I met. Vickie and I did a virtual speaking summit hosted by the fabulous Joe Pardo, and that's how Vickie Gould and I met. And so I am going to let Vickie take it away and share her story.
Thanks so much, Wynn, for inviting me and having me on. It was really great to see you in that summit as well. So many amazing people were on that summit. And I met a lot of great people through it as well. So thanks for the intro. And I will say my name is Vickie Gould, and I am a storytelling, marketing, and book coach. So as a result of working with me, my clients become best-selling authors who are able to grow their reach worldwide, create more impact, use their story in multiple forms, and turn their readers into clients while they sleep. I do a lot with marketing, storytelling, and messaging with my clients because there's a lot of business stuff that goes behind the scenes when you're writing a book and putting one out.
Oh, yes. I've been in this industry for almost 10 years. Yikes, you guys. That's a little scary. And so there's a lot that goes behind the scenes. So, as I said, it's okay to ask for help. Now, you might be thinking, when you have a physical disability, you have every right to be asking for help. And what I'm saying is, it's okay to ask the experts for help. I ask the experts all the time for help personally, and I ask Vickie for help. I ask everyone else for help. I ask my own book coach for help, which she's producing a book for me right now, and we're working together well on that. And so it's okay to ask for help. But Vickie, what would you say to the person who's listening to this, who is in quarantine because of coronavirus, in lockdown, and they go, oh, I want to write a book like Wynn. I want to work with Vickie. How would you start? Because I'm not allowed to give it any more advice anymore. I have worked on 9 books and my 10th and 11th. So I have been down the road of marketing books and selling books and producing podcasts. So what would you say to the first time part author?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Right now is a fabulous time to be writing your book. I used to say that time was not going to fall in your lap, that you were going to have to create the commitment, create the time, create, what you needed to write your book. And now I'm taking it back. I'm going, you know what? Time just fell in your lap. Guess what? Now is the best time to be writing your book because, people are finding other things to do, like creating new hobbies, going back to old hobbies, reading more books, right? And had you had your book out already, somebody might be reading it right now. So don't procrastinate. Use this time and figure out what it is that you want to say. Most of my people write books because they tie that book into a business, right? That's where the turning your readers into clients while you sleep comes from. So the first thing you need to do is really to get clarity about what you want to write about, what it ties to, why you want to write it, why You want to do it for the person that you're writing for, because realistically, there is no such thing as writer's block. It's just clarity block. And once you get clear on where you want to take that reader from, point A to point B, then that transformation that you're giving them has certain steps, right? And has certain stories that are tied to it. And voila, you reverse engineer it and you're pretty clear about what you need to put in the book now.
Yes. So there is no such thing as writer's block. There is I think it's clarity block, and I have books sitting on my computer. Trust
Yeah.
me, but right now I haven't had the time to write because I've been consumed by journalism degree. But as soon as I
So
get the
when
journalism degree, yes.
Yeah, when you wrote your very first book, so like we only just met, so I didn't know you had 9 books. I have 10. So what was your first book about and why did you decide to write it?
My first book was about I come win, and it's my life having cerebral palsy,
Uh-huh.
and I wrote it after my mom died.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Unfortunately, it's now a legacy piece. Yikes,
Mhm.
that's a little scary because unfortunately, I lost my dad in May. So I
Oh, I'm so sorry.
wrote this book in as a form of therapy and losing my mom, and
Mhm.
my dad's book, essentially the mystery novel that I'm writing for an honor
Mm.
of my dad, yeah, that's still sitting on my computer. So
Aw.
so essentially this book is now a legacy piece, you guys, because I
Mm.
wrote it thinking that I was going my dad was still going to be here. He was going to bury his child, me, and no, it
Mhm.
was the opposite end of the spectrum. And so now I am sharing my story, empowering others. So yes, that's why I wrote the original book.
Wow, that's great. A lot of my clients do similar, where their book is not just because they want to get their story out, but is also part of their legacy. And it has a lot of meaning to them to share stories that they may have not have shared with anybody else except maybe a close friend or close family. And this is now their time that they're saying, you know what, I need to share this now with the rest of the world because I know it's going to help somebody. I bet
And
your
it's
book
so funny because
is
so many people know me as the woman that wrote I Come a Win. They
like, mhm.
associate me with I Come a Win. They don't care about the rest of my books. I mean, they do, but they focus on I Come a Win so
Yeah.
much that it's not even funny.
Oh, that is funny because my first book I'd rather not talk about. That first one was a little bit of an embarrassment because, sometimes the first try that we have at things are not so fabulous. Now, it wasn't bad. I won't say it was bad, but I had a lot of learning pieces from that book that now I use to help other people. So it was really great for that. And it has some great stuff inside it, but like I changed the cover 3 times. I tried to do it myself, like it was
Yes.
if I still had the first cover for that to show people, I wish I still had it. I got rid of it. I don't know where the file is anymore, but just to show my clients sometimes, hey, we all come from somewhere, and you might think that I got it all together now because I've helped so many people, but this is where it started. I had a peach and green book cover. It was so bad.
Well, I at least, and you guys have seen it. My old book cover is out in the public, but now it's changed. But I at least, in fact, I'm looking at it right now as we called this. Um, it's a green leaf and it has a white flower, and it turns out that was my artwork, and then I stuck I come a win in the middle of it, and at the time, now they're no longer in existence. This is how long my book has been out. At the time, Create Space
Mm-hmm.
switched my subtitle. I am
Oh,
looking at my subtitle as we record this. They squished my subtitle, and I thought, never again am I designing a cover myself. Never again am I designing a cover myself. I was so proud of that cover up until clear. I got the copies of my book, and my dad was with me at the time, and he goes, "Win, you realize that they switched to your subtitle?"
oh
And
no.
it's like, "Oh no, never again will I do that. Never again." So since then, like you, I've learned
Yeah,
lessons based off my first book.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, oh my gosh, some of those things. But hey, that's how you get better, right? And that's how you learn things. And we wouldn't have figured it out if we hadn't tried in the first place, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now, Vicky, if
Yeah.
you had to move houses and
Mhm.
only take 5 things with you, what would they be?
Oh, goodness. Does that not include the people? Because, like, they're
That
obviously gonna
includes
come.
includes the people. That includes the people.
Oh, I mean, like, do I include my people in my 5? So I guess I can just say family and lump it into one
Family,
thing
yes,
instead of naming them one
family,
by one. Otherwise, all 5 they take up all 5 of my spots.
yes.
Um, okay, that ooh, I would take all my shoes, because 'cause I'm a shoe freak. What else would I take? I would take my ice skates, my piano, and my bed.
Ice skates, your piano. Jeez. Yeah, I'm not surprised by the piano. I'm absolutely not surprised by the piano aspect, but I am surprised by the ice skates. Vic,
Yes,
you ice skate?
I did. So, I was a good Asian growing up, and I played the piano because we were supposed to play the piano, right? But for a long time, I wanted to ice skate. So when I was 15, my dad lost his job, found a new job. We moved from Pennsylvania to Tennessee. My mom was back home in Pennsylvania selling the house. And my dad and I went to Tennessee so I could start school, and do the transition
Yeah,
to the new school. And I said to my dad, I don't want to play the piano anymore and I want to ice skate. And my dad always let me do whatever the heck I wanted. My mom, on the other hand, little not so much. So he said yes. And that is how I started ice skating. But I got into it very late in life because I was already 15. I was pretty good at it. I spent most of my weekends at the ice skating rink. I skated while I was pregnant with my first child. I taught ice skating at Detroit Skate Club, which is where some of the Olympic athletes train. So, yeah, it was super fun. I had custom skates that were tan with gold blades. And after I had my kids, my feet kind of widened and grew, and pregnancy
right.
kids, they ruin everything.
Yeah.
Anyways, um, so I ended up selling the boots and getting regular white boots to replace them. But I kept my gold blades, so I replaced those. So now I have white boots with gold blades that are not custom, but that's all right. I'm not that um, I'm not that serious about it anymore. My son likes hockey, so we've gone out, and I just tell him, "Look, your mom is almost 50 years old, and I can chase you down and beat you on the ice."
Yeah. Oh, yes, you can. Oh, yes, yes.
Yep.
Well, the ice skates, when you said ice skates, I thought, okay, piano, I could understand why. I can understand why. And
Yeah.
um yeah, I can understand why on piano, but ice skates, I'm like, oh boy, is she not telling us something that we need to know? And needless to say, Yes. Based upon your dad and my dad let me get away with all this fun stuff,
Yeah.
which people don't know about me. I played soccer.
Oh, you did.
I did.
Oh,
And people don't know about that end of it. They know about the skiing end of it. They know about the cerebral palsy end of it, but they don't know that I played soccer and I
mm,
absolutely loved it. And my mother was scared up to death of
yeah.
every athletic sport I did because um, she was a mom and she didn't want me to get injured because of my neurological condition. But my dad, on the other hand, he let me do the sports and whatever the heck I wanted. And so I think that is truly great to all the dads out there that they they land up letting us do every which way. And as we wait for Vickie to call back in, I was on a soccer team and I landed up playing in the game, you guys. And the other team didn't know what to do. Didn't know what to do with me because I was, due to my neurological condition, I was the most wobbly soccer player ever. So, therefore, the other team didn't know what to do with me. And the fact that my coach put me in to this team um, was absolutely amazing. And I am ever so grateful that I got to experience soccer as a child. Hi, Vickie.
Hi, I'm sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. Technology. So we were talking about if you had to move, you would take your skates, your piano, and your family and all that good stuff.
Yes.
Now, if your BFF, your best friend, was going to write a book about you, what would the title be?
Oh no. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
it might be called The Dragon Lady or something like that.
yes.
Oh,
So,
that's
yeah,
so funny. That is so funny.
yeah, yeah. So the your book would be called The Dragon Lady if
Yeah.
your friend was going to write a book about you because you sound, and for those of you that don't know, there was a big movement in the 90s called the Tiger Mom movement, and you sound
Mhm.
like a Tiger Mom, and you your mother actually sounds like a Tiger Mom too. And so yeah, and so it's interesting when I talk to people of Asian culture who
Yeah.
relate to the Tiger Mom because Tiger Moms are so fierce, like it's unbelievable.
Yeah. The funny thing is that I really don't think I'm as Tiger Mom or as Dragon Lady or as, as my friends might think because they didn't grow up in the Asian culture. So my parents were immigrants. I'm first generation, so it was a good mix of everything. I'm married to a Caucasian, so in my household, I've loosened up on a lot of the Asian stuff that might go on, but I still end up sounding way more militant and strict than some of my other friends might be. Although, you know what? There are some of my friends who are just as strict or more strict than I am.
Yeah. And so to each their own on that one. But what is your favorite book and what is the title of your favorite book?
Yeah, so one of my favorite books, I have a few, but one of my favorite books is a book called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. Have you heard of it?
I haven't. I haven't.
Okay, so the concept is that we tend to try to keep ourselves safe or comfortable. And every time we go and hit a new level of success, there's kind of like what you call a ceiling in essence. And when you start bumping up against that ceiling, you inherently keep yourself small or put yourself back to equilibrium because that's what you're used to, that's what you're comfortable with. And that keeps us a lot of times from getting the success that we really want. So, yes, we want it, but when we hit that ceiling, we do something to self sabotage to bring ourselves back to where we're used to. And he talks
So,
about how to get over that.
yes.
Hmm.
So when you hit the ceiling, you need to get over hitting the ceiling before you bounce off the walls and hit your head on that ceiling. And so
Right. And
Deep is talking about the philosophy of hitting the ceiling. And for those of you that don't know, Libby and Overdrive are library system books that
mhm,
library systems that you can go get the Big Leap. Also, I know that Audible is offering
mhm,
a discount right now during the time of the coronavirus as we sit here on March
mhm,
7th and record this 2020, March 7th, 2020. I know that a lot of Amazon is offering a discount. So go find the Big Leap, go read and be my guest. And
yeah,
Vickie, what is your
yeah.
morning routine?
Hmm. Well, my morning routine, I get on my phone way too early. That's number one. So there are some people who talk about their morning routine, and I'm like, oh, you are so disciplined. But you know, when with my backstory of chronic Lyme disease, that there's a lot that I do with myself to maintain being functional, being able to do the things that I need to do to lower my pain, and to be able to be mobile. So when I get up in the morning, I know do the normal stuff, brush your teeth, that kind of thing. I do try to do some yoga stretching and stuff because my hip, my knee, my back, like there are certain things that just, if I don't stretch them, if I don't do certain things, then they'll just get tight. And then, by the time I go to bed, I can't go to bed because they hurt. So I do a lot of that type of stuff, stretching, yoga, exercise, just to keep my limbs moving. I will soak in the bathtub. And this is kind of a long morning routine, but I do soak in the bathtub. I have been known to be in the bathtub for over 2 hours sometimes if I really enjoy myself. So, and in the bathtub is Epsom salt, baking soda, and sometimes I'll put in food grade hydrogen peroxide. So those are some of the things that I do in the morning. I have a bunch of herbs that I usually take. I take a detox drink in the morning as well, apple cider vinegar, extra vitamin C, some of those things. And then I take herbs throughout the day, and I have a whole protocol at night as well.
Yep. So,
Yeah.
for those of you that don't know, um, I have another dear friend, including Vickie, with Lyme
Mm,
disease, and he is not mobile. He is on
mm.
and he is barely functioning. And
Yeah, that's rough.
for those of you that don't know, Lyme disease, and this is why ticks are my biggest fear, and Lyme disease comes from ticks, and so you getting Lyme disease um, means you got bitten by a tick who had Lyme disease. Correct me if I'm wrong, Vickie, in saying that. And
Yeah, you can get it from any kind of biting insect.
okay,
So
any
mosquitoes as well.
kind of
You know,
being in
yeah.
See, I did not know that. I always
Hmm.
told, and this was in the 90s, I always was
Yeah.
told you can get it primarily from ticks.
Right. And then there are some people who think, or some doctors and other places, it's such a misinformed disease. And so there's so many contradictory things out there. Some will say you can only get it from a deer tick and not a different. I'm like, they're not that discerning. All they do is bite you, they suck your
Like you
blood, and they
know,
go on to the next
yeah,
host, you know?
yeah, carry the disease. So, Vickie, if you don't mind me asking, how did you get Lyme disease to begin with? Do you even know?
I don't. That's another misconception, is that most people will get the bullseye rash. It's actually opposite. Most people do not get the bullseye rash. So I probably had Lyme disease for many years before I actually got diagnosed with it. It kind of crept up on me in sense, and sometimes it happens to people that way when their body like takes on more stress, other illnesses, some other loads of, whatever. At the time, I was making jewelry. I used to make wire wrap jewelry, and I had it distributed throughout the US in galleries and stores. And I was putting together a order and really just trying to get this order done. And I'm just one of those people who are like, let's just work until I get the whole thing done rather than let's do a little each day and I'll get done in 2 weeks kind of thing. So here I am trying to get the whole thing done. And my hand started not to work. My elbow was really hurting. And I eventually just couldn't move my right hand anymore. I eventually went to the doctor and they gave me some exercise band and sent me off and said there was nothing wrong with me, which is generally how it goes with Lyme disease and why it takes so long for people to get diagnosed. I was initially diagnosed with lupus, but that was a misdiagnosis. And I was also diagnosed with Sjogren's, which is also a misdiagnosis because lupus, not lupus, Sjogren's, um, the markers for certain diseases like Lyme is called the great imitator because it mimics so many other diseases, and then it screws up your blood work, and then you get diagnosed for other things that is not really it. And as my Lyme got better, certain ones of those markers went away. So that was just more confirmation that I really never had what they thought I had. But anyways, that's how that all got done. I worked up to it because I also had sick building syndrome. So I had a whole bunch of mold stuck in my body. And sometimes I wonder which came first. Was it the mold or was it the Lyme? Was it the Lyme and then the mold? And then like the overload for my body, it just took me down completely because I also have a gene mutation that makes it very hard for me to flush toxins out of my body. It's called MTHFR. And so even if I was to try to get rid of things, my body couldn't handle it and it would just get backed up again. And then that backup of the toxins would just make you sick again. And then, it would float in your joints and then your joints would hurt and then you'd have inflammation. It was just this huge vicious cycle that went on for a really long time.
Yeah, well, thank you for explaining your story for a little
Yeah.
bit. And Vickie, as we wrap this interview up,
Hmm.
do you have any questions for me?
I actually do. How did you become a podcaster? What made you decide that this was what you wanted to do?
Well, as I said, I wrote a book back in
Hmm.
2010, which is still available. It's on audio, you guys, and it's on audio twice actually. You guys can go find it on audio. Find I Win on audio. It's on Audible. It's on Apple iBooks. It's on Nook, and so go be my guest. Go find it. And then I thought, well, great. Now that the book is published, how the heck am I going to market this book? And then I thought, okay, well, we have a problem because I have a neurological condition that I always thought was bone and joint. I didn't realize that my condition was neurological. until 2020. My goodness. And I had this condition for, it's going to be 33 years in June, you guys. And so I'm still educating myself about my own disability. But long story short, I thought, okay, well, if I get on a some sort of a platform and do it by myself, I would put everyone to sleep because cerebral palsy can be long and blind. So I thought, hey, why not do an interview-based show? Well, first of all, I tried YouTube. That backfired on me, not because I was not able to do it. I was able to do it perfectly fine via Skype, but that backfired on me because I had a fan out of Dallas, Texas, that literally said to me, "I want to watch you, but on YouTube, but I can't leave my computer open." So I said, "Oh, there goes there goes the YouTube aspect of the Winds and Women of Wisdom." And then I tried Blog Talk Radio, and that disaster and a half. And then I discovered podcasting. And at the time when I knew about podcasts because at the time I was writing a book, writing the original book, I Win. And then I was listening to a podcast called The Creative Pen by Joanna Penn out of the UK. And so basically what landed happening was when I typed in cerebral palsy to that Apple podcast, it appeared nothing. So then I thought, okay, why not start a podcast based around cerebral palsy awareness and bring other people in?
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So, like, when you were little, did you think you were going to do something like this, or did you want to be a journalist when you were little?
When I was little, I always wanted to be a journalist, but my mom, who immigrated here from Canada, forced
Mhm.
me forced me into the education field. I had no options. I had no options. God love her dearly, but I had no options. And so the day she died, I actually came up with the concept of I win as I was watching her die, as I was
Aw.
reading her numbers plummet.
Mhm.
I'm like, she's going, she's going, she's going, she's going, she's going. I need to leave a legacy piece. By the time I said she's gone, because I started screaming at this point, she's gone. My aunt said, you'll never get her back. You'll never get your mom back. And this was my mom's sister who said, you will never get it back. And I thought, okay, I'm leaving a legacy piece. So we all got in the cab. By the time I got back to the hotel, I had in my head what I was going to do the next piece, which was going to be I Come a Win. And then I published it in October in 2010, and it still sells to this day.
That's so great, Lynn. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. And as I said, I have other books floating around out there. So, Vickie, where can people find you, and where can people hang out with you if they want to work with you on book coaching and storytelling and marketing?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So, Just make sure you type my name in right. It's VickieGould. Pretty much find me on every social media platform. I just got a TikTok, so that's been fun. So Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm really not as much on Twitter, but you can find me there. My website is under the same name as well. And if you want to download my freebie, it's called the Top 10 Most Profitable Best-Selling Book Niches. It's at bit.ly/top10niches. And that'll let you know if the category that you're thinking of with your book is a good one before you even start writing it.
Yes. And I am also on TikTok, you guys. I am, yay, I finally got out of band. People
Yay!
like, yay. Vickie's like, yay. So you can search my name on TikTok, Win, WIN, Charles, CHARLS, and find me and follow me, and yeah. And then I'm around, I am not so much. I am on Facebook, but I'm locking that down as we speak because I've been getting weird friend requests. Don't know. And so I've been getting weird friend requests, and I'm locking that down as we speak. And
maybe it's your privacy settings, because I was getting some strange ones too.
yeah, it's my privacy
No?
settings.
Yeah.
And it's my privacy settings. And the troll, it happens all the time to women in particular. It doesn't happen to men.
Yeah.
Walking that sense. It happens all the time to women in particular. So what I'm doing is I'm in the process of locking my Facebook down, but you can still friend request me on Facebook or follow my page, Ask Win, or author Win Charles, WINCHARLS, which is my main page, which has all my books on it. And so that's how we're doing it. And so I appreciate Vickie's time today, and I appreciate you guys listening, and make it a great day, you guys. Keep happy, healthy, and safe, you guys. And let's make this world a better place for you guys. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
You just listened to Ask Win, the podcast. To become a guest in the show, visit our website at askwin.weebly.com or call 816-591-3399. Just look for Danielle. Connect with Win on Twitter at WinKellyCharles and like our Facebook page at Butterflies of Wisdom. You can also purchase Win's book through Amazon.com or get a copy of the audiobook through Audible. Ask Win, the podcast.